Okay. It is now 10 o'clock. I hope everybody has their phones on silence. I'm calling the regular meeting of Frontenac Islands Township Council to order at 10 a.m. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as the gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the Indigenous peoples who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of Frontenac Islands is committed to working with Indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Being none, we'll go to the consent agenda. Adoption and or receipt of the minutes for January the 12th public meeting and January the 12th council meeting minutes.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Councillor Ackley, that the January 12th, 2026 public meeting and January 12th, 2026 council meeting minutes be adopted as presented or amended, and that the information items be received and filed.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're going to staff reports. We have the finance report number 002-26, Wolf Island Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan. And we're turning to, I believe, our treasurer.
Yeah, thank you, through Madam Mayor. So Richard from the county and will be presenting the report today. So I'll leave it to him to kick it off.
Okay.
Thank you. It's great to be here through you, Madam Chair, and the rest of the council. We had Frontenac County Economic Development have been meeting with the businesses on Wolf Island starting in December. We've been coordinating those meetings, and it's been very clear to us that they're all looking for some form of recovery or response in terms of the transportation challenges that have happened specific to businesses located in Marysville, but across the island as well, because of the dock construction and then the COVID-19 pandemic. So the COVID-19 pandemic was a lot of communities were able to engage in full recovery efforts, and due to the nature of the transportation situation on the island, we weren't able to necessarily launch into the same kind of recovery based on the type of economic activity that existed prior to the dock construction in the pandemic, which was walk-on traffic that visited the restaurants, retail places in the village primarily. There were other destinations that no longer exist, such as the corn maze. An entire at least maybe 2 cohorts of students now have gone through the university that used to come over in large groups over to the island in both the spring and in the fall, and those were great seasonal business benefits to those groups. So looking at the businesses, they have a lot of ideas about how to recover and how to respond, but they're all different. And we're looking to find a way to chart a path forward and find a way for the county and the township, for the Tourism Kingston, potentially MTO, to work together on charting a path forward for that recovery going forward. So the opportunity exists to secure funds through the Rural Ontario Development Program to pursue a plan like this. We've consulted with the Ministry of Rural Affairs about whether this type of plan would be appropriate, which they've indicated it would be. And we've spoken with Tourism Kingston, Visit Thousand Islands, Jefferson County in the US about this project. They're very interested in seeing a recovery on the island as well, assuming that transportation can be restored between the United States and the island, because this came as a surprise to me, but it shouldn't have. They see the island as similar to how Kingston sees the island. It's an extension for visitors to come to their region. So like when Kingston, Wolf Island's one of the top three things that people ask about when they come to Kingston, when they go into the visitor center. I want to know what's over there, what they can do over there, how they can participate, and and it's the same for Cape Vincent. They see it as an additional night in their community, additional meals in their community if people are making day trips over to the island. So we're looking to work together with them to move forward with an application to the Rural Ontario Development Program to get a consultant to lead a recovery plan project, with the idea of hopefully completing that project by the spring of 2027 in order to start implementing for the summer season of 2027. One other piece, Jefferson County, you probably are aware, are pursuing a feasibility as to whether or not the Horns Ferry can be restored and what kind of models that might look like. They're leading that. They're doing the work. They're hoping to have that information done by this summer. So whatever results they have from their study will inform some of the strategies that we hope to launch with this plan, assuming we get funding and assuming we go forward. The ask here for us, I did some initial high-level work with consultants. It's a little higher than any of us would like to see in terms of the cost. I managed to bring it down from the initial range of quotes initially. We would still have to go to market no matter what to procure a consultant, which would bring the price in a more competitive fashion. But I would rather come to you now with a clear-eyed idea of what it could cost, rather than come back and say it's going to cost more. There's a few things that we're looking at to do here. One of those is we're in discussions with Tourism Kingston to see if we can secure some funding support from them, as it is an important destination to them as well. So we're in that conversation right now, but I could not get confirmation prior to this meeting. But I'd rather be able to work with you within the proposed limit, and we've spoken with the treasurer about this already in terms of the funding. So the total project cost would be $80,000, with 50% coming from the Rural Ontario Development Program, 50% proposed to come from the township, and 25% proposed to come from the township, and 25% proposed to come from the county. We'll bring it to the county, assuming based on how the conversation goes here today.
Okay, thank you very much. You want to read that?
Mm-hmm. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Halton, that Finance Report number FN 004-26 Wolf Island Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan be received, and that the Council of the Township of Frontenac Islands authorize staff to apply for the Rural Ontario Development Program for the purpose of funding a Wolf Island Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan, and that the Council of the Township of Frontenac Islands authorize staff to work in partnership with the County of Frontenac and its Economic Development Team on the development of the proposed plan, and that Council authorize staff to draw up to $20,000 from reserves in 2026 to cover the Township's contribution to the project. And further, that if the funding application is successful, the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into an agreement with the province of Ontario for the purposes of this funding program.
Okay, so we're just getting it on the table right now. Not approving it at this point in time. And you said who moved it and seconded it?
Deputy Mayor Saunders and second Councillor Halton.
All those in favor of putting it on the table? For discussion, yes.
Yes. Yes, we'll discuss this, yeah.
Okay, it's on the table. Correct.
So the portion is basically for a consultant fee to drop a plan for businesses to make money and how we would,
So
I'm just missing that.
yeah, so there would be a number of pieces there. One of the, so we looked at, say, setting a baseline of economic activity, like, so understanding what economic activity looked like in 2019 before the dock construction started, and then trying to restore that level of activity on the island, and whether it likely wouldn't be the same activity and the same types of activity, maybe similar, but so the plan would look at understanding that situation and then coming up with a set of initiatives that the township can work on within collaboration with the county to support businesses in doing that. So it's not necessarily some of it's marketing, some of it's encouraging development of new businesses, some of it's I'm not sure exactly. That's why we're hiring a consultant. These are some avenues I can see where we would go. Some of it would also be about understanding the transportation situation with the ferry. So like, how do maybe we can put together a working document on how the community or the township works with the ferries, with the MTO to get information and share it with the community. So the community can at least know what's happening and when or whatever. So there's a real what we've observed is that the not knowing if something's going to happen or when you're going to hear about how it's going to be addressed or anything like that is a real challenge for doing business and for inspiring confidence, not just in visitors but in residents on the island as well. So what we're looking at is trying to figure out ways to be resilient. Ferries are going to stop sometimes, hopefully not like they did over the holidays, but like it's a piece, and we want to work with the community. We want the plan to address how businesses and the community can be resilient in the face of those potentials through either communication or other strategies that the consultants may acquire from their work.
Just the only problem I have is we're having a hard time getting any answers from anybody on ferries and so forth. Lots of things actually. And, we're going to hire a consultant that's going to try to do what we're already doing and not getting anywhere.
So, again, the ferry piece, we're potentially they could, sometimes, they have connections that we don't. Perhaps they work with the government in other ways. The other piece, and those consultants who bid on our package might present that as part of their opportunity. The other piece is that we're really looking to support and strengthen the ability to get economic activity happening on the island from visitors and through residents as well.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just to add on to Richard's answer, another piece of this as well is with consultants, we'll have a plan. So when it comes to any future grants, whether it's one that the municipality might take on or the businesses, this plan will be a great resource and will definitely ease that process. You'll see things like revitalizing the downtown or something, so the Mayorville Street. Having this, we can point to, we've already looked and studied this. Here's a project that's ready to go. And the businesses themselves, they apply for a lot of grants. If they were applying and they could reference, the economic study, this is important for, economic prosperity on the island. It just kind of allows us to do the research in advance to be prepared for anything that comes up.
If I may add to that, Madam Chair, the Rural Ontario Development Program that we're applying to has 3 intakes this year alone, and likely would have a similar schedule next year. And so we could apply to that program for implementation of this plan. Unfortunately, the way these things work for grants, if we don't have a plan or like a clear set of work, it's hard to chase funding. And so this would be the basis for chasing those future actions and chasing funding. We've had a lot of success with this on other projects, but we we think that this would be beneficial.
Okay. Any more questions, Councillor Ackley?
Nope.
Councillor Summers?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the report, first of all, Richard. Could I ask that, since this has direct impact on Mrs. on Wolf, could I ask to hear from the rest of council before? I had some questions, but I have, we've got others. So in other words, can I hear from the rest of council and come back to my questions?
Well, these are questions towards the presenter, not towards the rest of council. We'll still have a fulsome discussion. Do you have any specific questions towards the presenter?
So let me repeat myself. I have some questions.
Okay,
I think it would help me if I was able to hear from the rest of council, since it directly affects Wolf Island, before I have my questions.
Councillor Halton?
I don't like the cost. I'm not a big consultant guy. I like to get grants that will actually bricks and mortar things. As you mentioned, there is different intakes for this. I think it'd be very helpful to not start this plan until you had a summer under his belt. I'm just afraid the consultant's going to say, what I think he's going to say is, if you need to get your ferry straightened out, and once your ferry straightened out, then we can go from there. I think by the end of the summer, you would have the Jefferson County one done. It's going to cover the whole region. So I think that would help a lot. The other thing is, we are election year, and maybe this should be pushed till next spring or fall when there's a new council, rather than us drop something on a new council from here. So I'm not in favor of this time.
Hey, Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I sort of echo the same thing that Dan said, that we know the ferry is not reliable yet. That's our biggest hurdle right now. It'd be nice to get that underneath our belts and then focus on things we actually can work on. Maybe more of a development for the business on the island, but I don't think, well, no matter how much of a study we pay for, we're gonna have an inside communication link to the MTO saying, okay, boys, it's gonna happen now. Now that I see our ferry get taken care of let's see the ferry get taken care of first. And again, as Dan said, to new council next year, their best interest actually set into their budget. So I like the idea, but not at this time.
Okay, now Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, Richard, thank you for the report. And I do understand that these are building blocks. Okay, you have to have some base stuff in place moving forward. You mentioned Jefferson County. Is there any kind of partnership with Jefferson County? In other words, if we put this forward, does that build our case to work with Jefferson County to have a more comprehensive plan towards a new ferry and anything like that? Is it tied at all with that?
So yes, that's the short answer. Our understanding is Jefferson County is looking into the operations and the business case for restoring the horn service in some way, shape, or form, and what kinds of models might work for that. But what they said is that they need that destination development work, those trip generators that happen once that restoration is in place. So they're looking for reasons for people to get on that new ferry when it comes back into place and move it forward. So they're eager to sort of provide that perspective as part of our work, and if we're able to provide them with information in terms of our side from the township in terms of the Horns Ferry work. And so they're interested in collaboratively developing the destination.
Thank you. What happens if the county doesn't cough up the 20 grand?
I mean, that's a good question.
Thank you.
It's probably more. I think it's what's most relevant is whether or not the township's interested in moving forward with it to secure that support. Typically, when we propose these types of partnerships, the county and county council is looking for leadership from the township municipality and township council.
I had one other question. So there's another filing, there are filing deadlines throughout the year, right? So it's not imperative we do it right now. So I'd like to pick up on Councillor Halton's question. Is this Sandy gonna say, yeah, fix the ferry? I mean, what's beyond fix the ferry in terms of what the report might look like?
Thank you for your question, and through you, Madam Chair, we can't fix the ferry. To be honest, we have no control. We have no ability, no communication, as Councillor Ackley has mentioned. To be blunt about it here, and I'm at the county. I have even less of a hand in it. So for me, the idea was like, let's figure out what things we can control and what things we can fix through an activity like this. What we do have some power over some things, and what are those things that we can do to make sure that even if the ferry is not reliable, that we're still able to bring people over, and if the ferry stops, hand them another beer and look after them, or make sure that they're taken care of, right? Right? Like that's the goal, is like, how do we find these new ways to respond to an unreliable situation so that we can respond to security? Because yeah, I don't think I hope that we can engage MTO, and that MTO would be responsive to Tourism Kingston, City of Kingston, County of Frontenac, Township of Frontenac Islands, Jefferson County, all saying, we think this is a great plan and this is a good idea, and there's some things in here for you. Do you want to participate, or do you want to at least listen to what our concerns are, right? And we become a coalition, and so to me that's the benefit, because I don't think we can fix the ferry, because I think we're hoping that one day things will line up with MTO, but we continually struggle on this, and I don't need to speak to that because every single person in this room has worked at it harder than I have.
Another question through you to the treasurer. Are there any other plans for this reserve money?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. I was planning to address that. So to answer that question, no, this has not been allocated to anything. Most of this reserve has been from surplus. So it's kind of past savings that have just built up to, significant sum that would be able to fund this. So that piece, again, the funds have not been put aside for a specific cause. It's not related to asset management plan. They're completely separate. The one thing I did just want to echo on Richard's comments, just to think about, I know, again, this report's not, going to instantly change MTO behavior, but I do believe as a township, we do lack factual statistics on the impact of the ferry closures. So again, we're looking at pre-2019, what was, we were operating on the islands. This would have, some more evidence of just exactly how the ferry shut down. I know there's a lot of impacts you can quite easily see with your eyes. But right now, I think as a township, besides saying, we haven't impacted, I don't think we have anything on paper up to this point about what the actual impact is. So it's just another comment to make.
Thank you. So I would be in favor of this recommendation on the basis that we would be putting seed money up front to engage these other organizations you've talked about. And a big part of that is a bigger partnership with Jefferson County, showing that we're willing to put money forward to address the whole issue of the Horns Ferry and economic development.
Okay. I've been involved with this from the start for the Jefferson County and state assemblyman and et cetera, and that. And they know that they're doing their study that includes the impact over Tar Ferry with the connection over to Kingston. And I look forward to their efforts and that they have more funds to do it, and not to minimize at all the commitment that this township has already made in purchasing the Horns Wharf, and that they are very cognizant of our support and that, but not ever taking over a ferry. It would be an American ferry at this point in time, and if it comes through, then they'll have to deal with customs and immigration. The proposal that I'm hearing, and that is just about the Wolf Island recovery and that, and I look at it that an economic strategic plan for Frontenac Islands, including Howe Island, would be more beneficial. We have no strategic plan. We haven't had one functioning for the 3 years that we've been running. This, to me, would be the ideal opportunity in that, and it would work towards providing some leverage in dealing with MTO. MTO, everything has to go through comps. There's no magic bullet going to occur with MTO, and the only piece of good news that I am hearing is that they are actually training more people for running both the 3 and the 4 at this point in time at Georgian College. So there is effort, and as MPP Shu has made the point, the plan always was to be the Wolf Islander 3 and 4 running together in that, and we may be moving more and more towards that point. That is crucial. Without that, we're dead in the water, and we're dying right now, and that's no overstatement of it. When we have a suspended public school, we have contractors that won't come. We have $800 boat time charged to our farmers, and that for getting mechanics over and large equipment, $400 for construction, and contractors just plain won't come. So putting the money forward towards this for just Wolf Island economic resiliency, I don't see any great value in it, but I would appreciate a full economic strategic plan for the islands when we look at how we can't even buy a coffee over here. So at some point in time, there needs to be a clearer view as to what should be available in that. Ultimately, the MTO has been responsible for the crippling of so much of this. And there may be some goodwill that comes forward because of political pressure on them. So at this point in time, from a destination perspective in that, I am the chair of the economic development for the county in that, and we have a full-time person that's been hired in that's supposed to be helpful in this, and I'd like to give a little bit of time for that person to actually do something. But bringing more people to Wolf Island in particular, when we still have the crippled ferry, and stranding people there overnight and for prolonged periods of time is not in anybody's best interest, let alone tourism, because the word goes back very badly. So I'm not in favor at this point for this as a Wolf Island recovery. I would be in favor if it was an economic strategic plan that's being done, and I don't see excluding Howe Island as being fair. I think Howe Island has a much smaller footprint. They don't have a significant economic base other than agriculture, but I don't think that that should be neglected for the future, because I do think that this population is close to the 500 mark, and they probably would benefit if they had a strategic plan that addressed that. So as it stands in that, this recovery and resilience plan, I'm not in favor of it, and I do see the value of doing a good economic strategic plan, but it's crippling, and the ferry is not going to get solved by having. We had a Marysville plan, 2013. It's still a viable plan if we actually had a boat that worked reliably and wasn't hijacked by an ambulance call that ties everybody up and has a limit of 300 people that can ride on the boat when we're trying to organize a music festival. But I'm not in favor of this at this point in time, but I do think that we need to have a good strategic plan for the economic development of our islands. My 2 cents. So with that, is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll vote.
So would you like me just to amend to include that this will just be received?
Just receive for information purposes.
Or do you want me to read the motion again?
Is there anybody that would like to put that amendment forward? Would this be received for information purposes?
I've received.
Okay, so Councillor Jablonski, do we have a seconder for the amendment? Counselor Holton?
We're just receiving.
Okay, then we'll vote on the first part, which is the amended receiving aspect of it. All those in favor of receiving it? Carried. Now back to the original.
Okay, so we'll have it be amended. It was moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Halton, but amended by Councillor DeBonnickley and Councillor Halton, that the finance report number FN 004-26 Wolf Island Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan be received.
Okay, we've already done that for the receiving part, but since this was brought forward as a report,
Mhm.
do we not have to vote on the actual report as well first, after the amendment,
So we'll go ahead then and vote on the original,
which is
the original one that I put on the floor.
recommendations?
Okay,
No, because
Yeah,
if we vote against it,
we can
it'll be
vote,
abolished, because
the recommendations is what we would vote against, but we've received the report at this point in time. So the recommendation is for $20,000.
but we just put it off, so why we haven't another vote?
We didn't put it off.
Well, we filed it. We received
We
it,
received it
sorry.
for information only.
Yeah, so why we having a vote on it then?
Well, turn to the clerk here.
so if we can all just agree that we're gonna accept this as information only, so with the amended, which is Councillor DeMontickley and Councillor Halton, that you are just receiving this report. Therefore, the other one, full motion, will not be carried. It'll just be the amended with the first paragraph, the first sentence.
We don't have to
No.
go back to the original.
No, we're good.
Okay,
Staff doesn't have direction. Receive this.
all right.
So
Thank you very
all
much.
are all in favor of the amendment.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, now we're at finance report. FN 003-26 amended personnel policy bylaw 007-2025. And that report, we're turning to Jesse, I believe. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, this report here is basically, it kind of came about in two, facets. So, last year in March, we passed a personnel policy. In the attached documents, the agenda, most of that policy, is the exact same as what was passed by council. The only changes that occurred were the changes that I noted in my report. So there's kind of two parts of this. The first, there was just some minor wording changes that we noted. It's common municipal practice to review these policies either annually or in a 5-year period. So specifically sections HR 01, 06, 10, 12, 13, 14, where again, just looking at some of the definitions, which I'll go through shortly just to explain, and just having some minor word changes. HR 33 was a change to the pay equity policy. This was also part of the reason we started the review is, this policy was passed last March and our consultants finished their pay equity compensation study in May. When they did the study, they provided us a more comprehensive pay equity plan, or pay equity policy. So what it is today is that we've attached the policy that they developed, which is in alignment with salary grids that we've done, and any of the pay equity work. So just to kind of quickly summarize, we're proposing a minor change to the definition of casual, per the staff report. Again, this is just to reflect that sometimes we have casual employees that we keep employed longer than 90 days, such as our ferry workers. We keep them on call. So we just wanted to change the definition to now meet how casual employees are used at the township. The overtime change was again the overtime in lieu or overtime banks. From a township perspective, it makes more sense for full-time only to receive the banks. When a part-time employee works overtime, the general kind of industry standard is just to pay them the overtime hours. Again, with a part-time, we're using them to cover shifts of overtime. It made a little less sense for them to have a bank and then try to utilize it, because that would just put us in a situation where we might have staffing issues. Again, There's another change in overtime. Again, it's just further clarifying, instead of temporary and casual, it's just permanent part-time and casual employees. The rest of that paragraph remains unchanged. It was just kind of increasing the definition. The designated holiday policy, if you look at the original, it was a little bit ambiguous because it said 1.5 times the regular rate and or will receive. Having and or just same sentence, it led to confusion. So the definition made it more clear. They either get 1.5 the regular rate and holiday pay premium, or they get regular pay, but they can then take a substitute day at another time. And this is aligned with ESA standards. For bereavement, sick leave, and insurance benefits, again, it's just a clarification that these relate to permanent full-time. Again, example, the bereavement policy, I believe, goes up to 4 working days. If this applied, for example, part-time, they might not necessarily have 4 working days on the schedule. The policy is really just to compensate when we have full-time employees that might miss a regularly scheduled shift. Sick leave, again, it's something historically that we just do for part-time employees. And insurance benefits, this changes again to be aligned with the standards of the terms that we have with Sunlight for who is eligible for the plans. I will add to note all of these changes were we communicated with our legal counsel to make sure that these changes were appropriate and that we met any ESA standards or guidelines. Again, it's mostly these are just very small tweaks to what we have. Going down to HR 33 pay equity, because this was such a large change, I just chose to attach the original as the appendix and the amended as an appendix. So appendix A was original, appendix B is the change. Like I said, the appendix B was actually developed by consultants, and they gave us guidance to pass this once the pay equity salary grid has been approved. It was officially approved last council when the budget was approved. So again, this, I believe we just had a 1.5 page policy before. So the new one is just much more comprehensive and allows staff to administer the policy based on our grids. At this time, there'd be no financial implications for the change. It would just, again, just offer further clarity in those areas. So I'll leave it for questions at that. Just to clarify though, what's been attached, because I know there's been a large attachment to the agenda. The only changes made by staff were to the areas noted in my report. Everything else in that policy had already previously been approved by council last March when the bylaw was passed in the same time.
Just for clarity, that what page numbers are appendix A and B, since they don't seem to be very clear in this.
So it'd be the policy number HR 33. Went to what was posted. I think for HR 33, what I have in the appendix doesn't look like it was attached.
No.
So
So we're not going to be dealing with this today then. Because if this is incomplete and I looked for it and I could not find it anywhere,
so there might have been multiple versions. So I guess again, Angel, you can correct me on procedure. If we can't do the third reading on the bylaw, is it still worthwhile just for council to have discussions?
we can't discuss it when we haven't got it.
It is attached to the report. I'm saying for council to speak to the report. Because if it's just a clerical thing, we'd be bringing it back to next council. We might as well receive comments if there is any from council.
I would be more comfortable with announcing it as reading one. But there is no way that we can have a discussion when we haven't got the rest of it. To me, it makes more sense to just defer to the next meeting until you get this stuff complete.
So through you, Madam Mayor, my only concern is that if you have comments, if staff hears it today, we can bring those to next meeting. But I'm not saying again, because the bylaw HR 33 looks like it doesn't have anyone put in. I'm not pushing that council pass them 3 readings today.
Oh, I guarantee it wouldn't happen that, but
Well, that's not what I'm saying. The conversation I'm having with you is that I propose changes.
Yeah.
is it worthwhile just for staff to hear feedback on those changes?
No, I'm saying that because it's incomplete,
The staff report isn't though.
the staff report can come forward.
Okay, yes,
And
okay.
that for information purposes, but nothing of this bylaw until it becomes complete so that we can, not only the council, but also the public is entitled to see this, and we can't. So this is the second meeting in a row that we're having something that isn't complete. And it's unfortunate because we need to have all the information.
Okay, maybe I'll just read the motion as it is, and then we can make a change on this particular motion. Moved by Counselor Halton, second by Counselor Jablonski, that finance report number FN 003-26, amendment to personnel policy bylaw 007-2025 be received. And further, that council approved bylaw number 008-2026, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 007-2025 by the proposed amendments to section HR-01, HR-06, HR-10, HR-12, HR-13, HR-14, and HR-33. Now,
Just start with the first line that you had,
right.
the very first line in that, and receive for information purposes.
Okay.
Report.
So moved by Counselor Halton, second by Counselor Jablonski, that finance report number FN 003-26, amendment to personnel policy bylaw 007-2025 be received.
For information purpose.
Right. So we'll change that for information purposes.
We skip the rest of it until we get the rest of this complete, and it can come back at the next meeting. And we'll have better information to actually have a discussion.
Sure, Madam, do you not need an amendment?
Yeah, we'll still need an amendment on that. So if you can,
Actually, I won't even bring it to the floor if it's not, because we can't do this again. If we haven't got the information available to the public, it doesn't come forward. So it's either it's going to be received for information or it just doesn't come to the floor.
so
Yeah,
you,
I'm sorry, I know I'm probably, just because I don't have the clerk background, I guess council today, it's like the information there, basically what would be brought next month would just be attaching appendix B to the overall thing. Again, if it's just easier today, I was just thinking from staff time, if we bring it to March and then it doesn't get approved to May or June. I thought discussion would be worthwhile, but again, from staff perspective, we're pushing for the bylaw to be passed today, so we can move it. If that keeps things simpler.
Yeah. So maybe
I think it still needs an amendment though, but
the amendment could even be to just defer it to the next meeting.
would make more sense to receive the arguments that it's incomplete.
Councillor Holton.
I make a suggestion, if anybody finds something incomplete from now on, get a hold of staff and let it know. Let's save some time.
Yeah.
They can maybe get it in, and so if you find it, let staff know right away. They
Yeah.
can get it corrected.
I agree in that, and it's unfortunate that we only issue this on the Thursday. And then getting communication back to people on the Friday is very problematic. And as you indicated, this appendix B is significant. And it's, we're gonna do it right, or we don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's, so I think the amendment should be deferred to next month and make sure that it is complete and sent out, and it can be posted far in advance. It doesn't have to wait to the Thursday since it's missing at this point in time. The package got posted. But it needs to be posted. Councillor Jablonski.
Thank you, Madam. May I make another suggestion? February 28th, we have a public meeting. Can we just tack this on at the end of the meeting, have B appendix added at that point?
That's a special meeting because the other one is.
Yeah, no, it's a
public
public, I know, that's
They're
a,
two different meetings.
yeah, well, we're both here, we're all here the same day.
Mhm.
We just have a public meeting in the morning, get the one part done, then have a very short council meeting afterwards, just finish up this part here and move it on. So this is appendix B, correct?
Yeah, so appendix B just has to be inputted into the bylaw. I'll defer Madam Angelique. I think from my perspective, because it's a public meeting, it would count as kind of two special meetings. We have to restart. The only thing is, yeah, if we do that, just for transparency's sake, they're technically, I believe council would be compensated for 2 meetings.
Oh, no, that's.
Yeah.
that's not-
Yeah.
no.
And there's no urgency in this.
No.
So let's just get it done right now. And that's so. Perhaps the amendment should be a motion to refer this to the next regularly scheduled council meeting. Would somebody like to move that? Councillor Ackley. Anybody second that?
Yeah.
Councillor Holton. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, now we have finance report, FN 004-26 pothole repair and prevention grant.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I have this one. It's complete and it's good news, so it'll be a little bit lighter discussion.
Thank you.
Anyways, this is just to bring a report to council that we were successful in our application. Back in November 2025, Ministry of Transportation announced that they were doing a new grant funding stream for small municipalities with populations less than 10,000 people. I think the overall funding envelope was 10 million across to be split. The maximum amount that could be allocated to municipality was $38,000. And we were fortunate enough to receive that full funding allotment of 38,000. So we have executed the agreement. We're still waiting to receive the funds. Again, a lot of this just comes down to our basic activities with respect to pothole, either prevention strategies or repairs. So again, from a financial perspective, we did apply for the grant during the budget season, but we didn't want to bank on it being a new grant and something that we were all unfamiliar with. So from a financial perspective, we'll be splitting it 70-30, Wolf Island, Howe Island. This is to be consistent with the tax rates. And it is a grant that we can easily split between the 2 islands. With respect to that, because it wasn't in the budget, these are costs that the township normally incurs. So there will be likely this will help contribute to having a surplus or at least coming under budget. So we're not spending additional funds. This is just getting what we usually spend covered. I think it's kind of great that the municipality had the opportunity to get this grant. We hope that we have the opportunity to get in the future, that it's an annual thing. But again, we all know how bad the roads can get, even with our public works working hard to keep the road safe. There's always a lot of pothole, repair and whatnot to do. So again, just wanted to keep council informed that we received the grant, and you'll see it probably in our financial reports throughout the year. That's all I have for this one today.
Okay. So we get that right.
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Halton, that finance report number FN 004-26 pothole repair and prevention be received.
Okay. Any discussion? Councillor Ackley,
I think it's just great.
Councillor Saunders,
Money.
Thank you.
Councillor Holton,
Oh, great job, Jesse. That's the kind of grants that you want, that you can actually use.
Councillor Jablonski,
All the roads are new, should have any potholes. No, great job, Jesse. Nice job.
Thank you.
Well done.
yeah, so which department how did you apply for it?
So through Madam Mayor, so the grant comes from Ministry of Transportation. We made the applications through T-Pond. So again, with the grant, I consulted with both Mike and Keith on it and submitted the application back in December.
Okay.
And I'll work with them to make sure that the funds are used appropriately and that we get reimbursed for those or keep the full 38,000.
Thank you very much. No, it's wonderful, and I'm glad to hear that we've accessed something other than just something that's dropped in your lap.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Now we have administration report, AB 005-26 municipal election 2026 restricted acts lame duck. And we haven't got CAO here today. Is it going to be the clerk speaking to this one, or?
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
So I think with the report, both me and Angelique did review the report when Vanessa was drafting it. As our CAO is not here today, I think, again, if any questions from council, we would answer them. Just to kind of give a high level, And Angelique, you can, again, this is not my full background, so it's just kind of based on my understanding, speaking with Vanessa, is basically, as it's an election year, there's a potential for us to have a lame duck council. And that occurs, going down here, I'm sorry. I believe if 75% of the council is not returning, which would be in our case, you know, if we had 4 members not coming back to council, as we round up. So ultimately, in the municipal act, there are certain duties that can no longer be done by the sitting council. And this would just give the authority to the CAO to do those duties during the time between the nomination day and then when the election actually happens. I think one thing to note with this report is this is more in place in case, you know, as in the municipal world, events could come up that the municipality need to take action. So it's generally not used that the CAO would, you know, be using these restricted items. I believe the intent is in case something come up that we needed to make an action in the municipality and the council cannot vote or make a decision on it, that we have the ability to do so. I think a couple of things to highlight is anything staff have received approval beforehand, for example, the budget, that would still be allowed to go through. My understanding of this, again, Angela, after I'm done speaking, you can correct me if I misspoke anywhere, but this is a very standard kind of thing that goes forward for all municipalities. Again, because the municipality may need to take actions, and we need to have this in place for that to happen.
You covered everything.
Right. Well, just for clarity's sake, Matt, any of the members that are submitting their name and that to run again are not considered lame duck. It's only those that have decided not to move forward, and that, so this only kicks in at that point in time. Am I correct on that?
I would have to look that up for more information, but yes, I believe you're correct.
Have to be running for the same position
Right.
of council.
Right.
So if we have, and in this case, if we have 2 or more members either choose not to run or they choose to run for a different position, lame duck would
For
be,
them.
no, for the entire council. So if we had lame duck, even if 3 people, let's say 3 people said they're coming back and 2 say they don't, the whole council is in lame duck, not just the 2 that aren't choosing to go forward.
Okay, because the reason I was checking my phone earlier and that I'm on governance at the county and that, and Jeanette Amani, who is the clerk there, had a slide regarding lame duck. And it would be helpful in that if we had that piece of information as well. Because it's not that, you know, from August until October that the CAO would have that responsibility, and that if there is significant numbers still putting their hat in the ring. And that, but
Yes.
just wanted to get that clear in that, because it's mentioned in the municipal act, I believe.
Yeah, I would need to bring it up, but at this time I can't pull anything up. I'm sorry.
Councillor Giovanni.
Thanks, Mayor. One question, just here, and like, appointments, hiring, and dismissals. Does this also come down to our fire chief leaving in August? Is that qualifiers for?
Yeah, so it would in that case, again, for my understanding through Madam Mayor, an appointment can be done before the lame duck period. So let's say it's June or July. Theoretically, if council wants to make a decision, my understanding is as long as that decision happens before lame duck is entered, it would still be allowed. For example, not to get too much in discussion, but we've all talked about we're needing new accounting financial software. I'm likely going to go to a report to say it's going to be in our 2027 budget, but I need council approval to pull from reserves to put a deposit down with the company. As a staff, I would go get that approval in advance. And I think, again, the intention would be, we still have current council, they're not a lame duck. Staff still need to get direction and decision and be prepared for that.
Thanks, Jesse.
Any questions, Councillor Ackley? Councillor Funk?
Thank you.
Councillor Holt?
No question.
Okay. Can you put on my slide?
Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Jablonski, that council receive administration report number AD 005-26 regarding municipal election 2026 restricted acts, lame duck, and that if council is determined to be in a restricted position, lame duck, following nomination day on August 21st, 2026, pursuant to section 275 of the Municipal Act 2001, council delegate authority to the chief administrative officer to take action where necessary with respect to the restricted matters set out in section 275 brackets 3 of the Municipal Act 2001 as follows. A, the appointment or removal from office of any officer of the municipality. B, the hiring or dismissal of any employee of the municipality. C, the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality having value exceeding $50,000 at the time of disposal. D, the making of any expenditure or incurring of any liability exceeding $50,000 that has not already received budget approval. And further, that council directs the CAO to report to the incoming council on any actions taken under the delegated authority pursuant to section 275 bracket 3 of the Municipal Act 2001 between nomination day and the commencement of the new council term. And further, that this delegation be formalized through a bylaw with the delegation expiring on November 16th, 2026.
Okay. Bringing it to the floor. All those in favor of putting it on the floor? It's on the floor. Councillor Ackley, you got any questions on this? Councillor Saunders?
Thank you.
Councillor Halton?
Thank you.
Councillor Dulaneke?
No questions.
Okay. The only thing is I wonder about is C and D, and that the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality have an exceeding value of 50,000 at the time of disposal, and the making of any expenditure or incurring any liability exceeding 50,000 not already received in budget. I can see an emergency situation that might exceed the $50,000 for dealing with it, a windstorm or something of that nature. But the disposition of any real or personal property from the municipality exceeding 50,000, I don't see why that would be needed.
So through you, Madam Mayor, my understanding, like this comes straight from the act of what's restricted from a lame duck council. So the act has set those thresholds that disposition above 50,000. So that's why that number's there.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, now we're at administrative report number 006-2026, Community Policing Services Board 2026 budget. And it's a budget thing, so I bet you it's your treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm busy today. So this is a simple report. So as you know, we have the Community Policing Services Board. From my understanding is that they met in January and they confirmed their budget amounts, which the municipality, our portion would be $2,500. From my understanding, we knew this as a draft amount. So in our budget, that's what we budgeted for the policing board. So it works out neatly. There's no financial implications. It's already been approved in the budget. Today, I think we just need council just to formally approve that we're in agreement, even though it's already in our budget as of today.
Okay. We have this on the floor.
Moved by Councillor Halton, second by Councillor Ackley, that council receive administration report number AD 006-26 regarding Community Policing Services Board 2026 budget, and that council approves a township portion of the Community Policing Services Board 2026 budget in the amount of $2,500 as included in the township's approved 2026 budget.
Okay, we agree to have it on the floor. All those in favor of putting it on the floor for discussion? Carried. Okay, Councillor Acker. Any questions? Councillor Saunders?
No, thank you.
Councillor Halton?
No questions, thanks.
Councillor Dublonic?
No questions.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Now, for our administrative report, AD 007-26, Ad hoc Ferry and Emergency Paramedic Services Advisory Committee. And we may have our busy treasurer speak to us again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as you recall, at the last council meeting during the public question period, it was put forward by a resident suggesting that an ad hoc committee get put together regarding transportation and emergency services, specifically relating to the ferry. So our CEO, Vanessa Latimer, prepared this report and a draft terms of reference for the ad hoc committee. I believe the intention is for council, again, to receive the draft terms of reference and then to provide staff with any guidance they would like to see for changes. Again, from my understanding, the terms of reference are very standard when it comes to committee. But I do believe this is kind of more of a discussion piece to amend these draft terms and then proceed with bringing those back to council at a next meeting.
Okay, we'll get it on the floor.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Councillor Halton, that council receive administration report number AD 007-26 regarding ad hoc committee, ferry and emergency / paramedic services, and that council directs staff to amend the draft terms of reference for the ad hoc committee on ferry and emergency / paramedic services as discussed by council.
All those in favor getting on the floor? Carried. Okay. Councillor Ackley, any questions?
I have no comment.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Mayor. Couple questions is, will this group be communicating directly to the public or organizations, or will they report it back to council? In other words, what's the official communication?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, the purpose of this committee is strictly to be advisory to council. So there would not even be communication to external entities. They would bring their reporting back to council for any discussion, which is kind of the full nature. Ultimately, I think it's, an avenue to do some thinking and speaking, some brainstorming about what potentially the township can do. But again, completely advisory in nature.
Another question, Madam Mayor. What amount of staff support is required?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd maybe let Angelique speak to this one, just with regards to the committee. I think obviously there might be some organization of setting the meetings. There's no financial cost, and I think the group would meet and then they would work with staff to then get on the agenda and then present whatever findings might have to council. So I think beyond kind of getting these terms of reference set up and approved by council, the actual meeting of the group is they're going to be self-contained. And of course, we'd have two members of council, including the mayor, on that committee.
One member of council.
Oh, sorry, one member. Sorry, yeah, one member of council and the mayor. So I get
Remember.
yeah. Anyway, so semantics, but yes, in that case, we had members of council on it, and they would be kind of, have some responsibility for meeting and getting that brought back.
I think the point that Councillor Saunders is making that is valid in that clerical support, because this is an ad hoc committee of council, that ensuring that there is actual clerical support, because it is expected to follow the Robert Rules of Order. And it is to be a public meeting. And it does report back to council and that, but we follow through and it's outlined in the municipal act. And that for ad hoc meetings and in our procedure bylaws as well. So I think that minutes of this are important, and having that in place is really crucial, and it shouldn't be left as a gap.
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, I think then potentially then council can discuss, so section 7 on meetings. Right now, as I read it, they did not mention having a staff take minutes for the meetings. So that could be something that council recommends staff amend to bring back. Again, be honest, my understanding or knowledge of municipal law, like the requirement to have a municipal staff do minutes, I'm not quite up to date on that. So I maybe, like council keeps discussing, maybe Angelique can look up just so council knows if that's a full requirement, as you say.
Right, well, while she's looking that up and that, I'm aware of ombudsman's reports and that where there were meetings set up outside of the public view, and it was not kosher. And that's why if they're an ad hoc committee of council and that, it needs to be following Robert's Rules of Order needs to be public, that people, it's not a secret group, this meeting for this. So,
Yeah, so. Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, I think. If we're put to council, I think, yeah, it makes sense to use the public, but. If council, again, I guess council direction, obviously staff will want to make sure we're following any legal requirements, and if that includes, public meetings. Whether Zoom or in person, and having a clerical staff present to do minutes. If that is, again, just doing assuming that that's, municipal law requirement. We would bring that as included back as part of the draft terms of reference to council.
yeah, and I'm not sure, but I don't think that it's allowed for closed session in that type of meeting either. Not because there's been bad experiences across the province and that, so they've gotten tighter on that. So we want to make sure if we're setting this thing up, that we set it up right.
If I can go back to my question then. So it's, I guess one's an observation, an advisory committee. So this will be covered in the main, I assume, but I'm assuming members of this committee will actually go and do work as opposed to directing work to township staff. That's really what I was trying to get at.
Yes. So an ad hoc committee is almost like a task force. It's time limited. Yeah, they usually do the work. But I appreciate your concern that if you tie up too much staff time in that, potentially.
Yeah, and through you, Madam Mayor, I guess at the end of the day, whatever recommendations would have to go back to council, and then council would have to direct staff. The committee would not have the power to direct staff in and of itself. So council then, in your decision, weighs staff time and resources would, in giving direction after the fact, to consider that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Holton.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen in it is the committee shall, this solution of this be dissolved automatically upon completion of its mandate or by council resolution. Probably include the end of council term. Yeah.
Okay, yep. Oh, I know.
Councillor Jawaniki.
Thanks, Mayor. Just, not that I don't enjoy you as companies, but as how I have an interest in all this EMS and more or less focused on Wolf Island. Do we need a rep from Howe Island in this?
Very.
Yeah, the point of this one, and I had last meeting made the point that I wanted to have two different committees, one for ferry and one for EMS, but this is a joint, and that's what the council wanted to have. By doing that, we had ferries of concern in a lot of places.
Okay.
Okay, but along that line, the representation needs to be, in my view, much more than just one person from Wolf and one person from Howe and that, and it needs to be posted. I've already had people emailing saying, when can we get onto this committee? There's a strong interest. So honestly, I would put forward 7 from Wolf, 3 from Howe as your maximum group, and have a more rather than less. And if we only have 3 from Wolf and 1 from Howe, then fine, but being restrictive is not going to be in our best interest. These are important topics that you need to have a voice, and we are in a short time frame before our election. So the more we can get done, the better it will be. And that, but there, we need to post so that people that have interest are aware and bring to the table, and that we can still screen who gets on the committee, but we need to make sure that it's broad enough that we get something in.
Or just a question about how's interest. We want a big part of ferry part.
Okay, Councillor Saunders.
Good matter, no caution against, making the group too large. As you pointed out, it's a short time frame. We have to work on this. And the larger the group, the larger the mandate, the more difficult it is. With more opportunities to get just divert it into non-priority items. So my recommendation was to keep it as tight as possible.
Well, if we didn't go for the 7 and 3, which would be 10 from the community, we could do 5, 3 from Wolf and 2 from Howe in potential. And that. And if there's no interest on the Howe Island side, fine. And that, but I know there's gonna be enough interest on the Wolf Island side. I honestly think probably 6, 4 from Wolf and 2 from Howe would be more in keeping with the fence. As a maximum, and that's the key, is not getting it too big, but having it big enough that there's enough voices at the table. Because there have been separate committees organized by people in the community that have spun and done their best for 2 or 3 years. There's no need to think that we're gonna have to redo what it's already been done. This is getting something that actually might be a fresh eyes approach.
Through you, Madam Mayor, but just to then clarify, so composition currently, it's mayor, member of council, then 1 from Wolf, 1 from Howe. We don't currently have maximum set. I guess we have council committee appoint additional non-voting citizens as required. So I guess with change the composition just for staff direction, just council, if you want to provide us maximums, we'll still keep those minimum 1 from island. I guess we. And Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, like any direction, we'd be looking just to clearly identify the direction and then vote on it. That direction or,
Sorry, for this particular motion right now.
yeah,
So from what I understand from this, we'll have to bring this back.
yeah, so I mean, today, like as far as what staff's direction is, will we first, when we finish this conversation, identify what council may want to direct? Does that need to be voted before like staff goes and proceeds?
We can add to this and say that we would have to bring back the revised terms of reference at the next meeting for council to accept it, right? Like we'll bring the revised one back before we take any further action. Staff's not gonna, this does not specify what staff's gonna do next.
Yeah, I mean, for that direction though,
For the numbers, should they?
yeah, like for example, the mayor's proposing
Or June.
that we bring that to council first. To the council's agree, staff should amend it to have 4 and 2.
Yes, I would suggest that we write down what changes need to be made and then we'll record that here
Yeah.
as just that staff will make the appropriate amendments and bring it back to the next meeting of council. Would that be appropriate?
So I suggest 4 from Wolf and 2 from Housie on the maximum. And that for representation from the community. I don't know whether anybody else thinks it should be more or less.
Can I next, Madam Just the EMS thing, I'm not totally up on it, and I already thought that there was other people in the committees that were. And more people on Wolf Island that are involved in trying to get the ambulance service or for a doctor or whatever, all on the island. As for the ferry services, they don't listen to us anyway. Like I heard Dan the other day, you can talk all you want, they don't want to do anything. So we're gonna have a committee that's gonna just come back to us with suggestions again on what they're gonna do for us. Really doesn't involve Howe Island other than the ferry service. And we know we're already not getting anywhere with the ferry service at the moment.
So you're suggesting that you don't want to have any representation from Howe Island on this?
Well, for us to do the EMS thing, that I'm not up on it. I'm not too sure on how I could help them.
Yeah, but there is a ferry involved, Matt, so if you don't want to have
Well,
representation.
for the ferry, they're not doing anything with the ferries anyway. At this moment.
All right, so you don't want to have any representation from Howe Island on this particular
Well,
committee?
I don't think I could be part of it, to be honest.
No, I'm asking that, do you think that are you suggesting that Howe Island not have representation?
Well, I don't think we could benefit this anyway, because we don't have any ambulance service here. Anyway, the ambulance does come and go pretty fast here, but not there. And I don't know the circumstances 100% there. I don't live there.
Councillor Saunders, do you have any thoughts?
I support Councillor Ackley's comment. As I said earlier, the mandate has to be tight. It's a limited time frame, and including the Howe Island ferry issues in this broader mandate I think is, it's not going to accomplish much. Councilor Ackley has made that point pretty clear. I think there's no real desire or need for this committee to include Howe.
Okay. Councillor Halton?
I guess that would be up to them. I was thinking there might be we might learn from some of the wisdom of some of the things that are done on Howe Island, but, if it's just Wolf Island, that's fine with me, I guess. We'll just have to change the terms of reference.
Councillor Jablonski?
Yep, no, that's why I bought the motion, but maybe you guys want to get involved or not. I'm thinking too, like, maybe with a smaller group and focus, like the MTO, as we know, it's like banging our head against the wall. But maybe the EMS with a focus group can make a big difference too. So I would suggest that the overall ad hoc committee sounds great. I'd say EMS taking the lead on this whole thing, and then the ferry being a second lower part, but focus energy is something really deep done.
And Madam Mayor, so I guess just on composition, like as it stands and what was presented, there's 2 members of council and then 2 representatives. If the committee is expanded, again, if there's 7 just residents of Wolf Island that we do, again, I guess, I don't know if there's any concern there that, as far as the composition, it is a bit shifted, but.
Well, this is it, and that's why if
We can have again, I guess we can add non-voting members if we wanna,
we can't get into a illegal meeting of council.
Yeah.
So we're sticking to the one and the mayor and
Yeah.
that for that piece, but for the resident representative, if Howe Island does not see there's any value that they want to have in this particular ad hoc, at some point in time, maybe there'll be a committee that Howe Island wants to have and Wolf Island isn't interested, then I would propose that we look at a maximum of 5 residents, and that from Wolf as well as what is there, and that would be a reasonable size working group. And that it's not cumbersome to deal with 5 and 6 people, 7 people. It's not an issue, and that if you get into 20, it becomes an issue. And that, but under 10, and if you have it too small, then that's really unfortunate because you're missing a lot of good ideas. And that, but as I said, I know that there's been groups in the community that have worked diligently for a couple of years, and I won't say that they got nowhere, but they didn't get as far as they had hoped. So I'm looking forward to having people with a different set of eyes, and that we can have some experience from one person speaking to it, from what they did and whether it worked or didn't work for them. But we haven't had success, and this council's never had a committee other than it opened and closed within 5 minutes, and that was unfortunate. So this becomes a government committee subset, and it follows the Robert Rules of Order, and we see if there can be success, but it needs to be a tight time frame.
So through you, Madam Mayor, then just for staff direction, so we'll keep the mayor and 1 councillor. Do we have consensus then on how many residents of Wolf Island we want to open up the committee to?
Okay, I suggest 5. And I'm gonna ask Councillor Jablonski, how many would you like?
If we're gonna just deal with Wolf Island, 5 sounds good. 5 is a good number.
Okay, Councillor Halton?
Yeah, 5 is good with me. That leaves an odd number if you have to vote on something.
Yeah. Okay, and you 2 aren't really concerned with it? Okay, so we're in agreement on that. So 5, and we'll post.
And,
Yep.
we won't be able to post till we get this done next meeting. I would suggest that meetings, because we have so much trouble with their electronics, if it's just going to be Wolf Island, that meetings be held in person. I think it's much more, I think it's much more beneficial for everybody to be in the room, and then we don't have the trouble with the owls. So maybe if we just change that to held in person.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the committee is made up of Wolf Islanders, really, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they could join technically, or somebody could pick somebody out. Seems pretty good.
So-
Just,
no, yeah, no.
just one more thing that I did see on Facebook. We say Wolf Island, but we mean the greater Wolf Island area. So there happens to be somebody from
Simple.
Simcoe or Horseshoe that wants to be on it, that's fine, but it's, I guess we would say the Wolf Island Ferry users regulations,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
something like that, but.
Through you, Madam Mayor, you do make a good point, because I know I'll speak to Wolf Island tax rate, like Cynical Island is in, so. Maybe something we can try to improve on communications, or just try to repeat more often when we're presenting. If it's okay with you, Madam Mayor, I do have a summary of the direction that I would just read out now to confirm, and then Angelique would be the official council business.
Okay.
Unless there's something else.
I just have one more thing to add, and that is the approval of the terms of reference can be done at our next meeting. I don't see it as being, crucial for posting, getting this thing going as soon as possible on that, because it's the terms of reference that's approved at council and it's agreed upon. This is what you signed up for. We can certainly give them the generalization. This is what the focus is. Are you interested, etc. But slowing this down anymore is not in anybody's best interest.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I think, again, when people, my understanding, is that people will apply, but it will still be council that appoints.
Yeah.
Again, timeline wise, you can double check with Vanessa, but I think staff can make efforts to try to post it and the individuals vetted, so that council can potentially approve them at March when the terms of reference are approved. So that way we're not waiting until April to get committee. So, again, today, I think, because Vanessa's not here, like, I want to make sure that's feasible, but I think give staff direction to try to do that, and we'll obviously make best efforts.
Councillor Holton?
The only thing, this is kind of going against what we already did. We didn't have complete information, so we didn't vote on something. Same thing, we aren't gonna have complete information. If we're gonna do it right, let's wait till the next meeting, have complete information, and we'll post that so people know what they're applying for.
Okay, probably because I've been on quite a few different committees along the line, and that terms of reference can often be modified back. So sometimes there's terms of reference that are assigned out, and then we turn around and we send a note back and ask if that can be amended and honed down. So I don't see it as that big of a stumbling block compared to the urgency, but that's just my opinion on that. So I'll leave it. And we can decide if we have to delay posting until terms of reference are fully approved by this council. Or the other option is to post, knowing that the terms of reference and appointments of people would occur at the next council meeting. So I'll ask for the first one. And that we direct staff to post for the potential of joining this ad hoc committee meeting of EMS and ferry concerns for Wolf Island. And with the intent that it is completed with the terms of reference approved and positions post appointed at the March meeting. Is there a will of council for that? I'll ask Councillor Ackley.
So can you say that again?
That we post for members of the public to apply for the ferry and EMS ad hoc committee of council with the terms of reference to be decided and approved at the March meeting, and appointments of those that have been interested at that point. And we can post this potential draft.
Yeah. Through you, Madam Mayor, basically, do we begin the recruitment process so that once we pass the terms of reference, we can right away appoint members? Or the other side, do we not start the recruitment process, wait till the terms of reference are passed at next council meeting and start the recruitment process afterwards? So the one argument is we don't have the finalized details,
Yeah.
but then the other side of it is the committee will start up quicker theoretically. So that's the two options they're waiting.
And they aren't unknown issues per se to the community. They are the ferry and EMS, and they're known issues. So the actual terms of reference and that are what they are.
One hand, I'd like to push them more, but the second, people should know what they're gonna be focused on, right? So it's pretty hard to vote on something that not everything's directly right there.
Could we do the mandate and scope maybe now? Yeah.
Which part?
mandate and scope. That part hasn't been in contention.
Yeah, I guess right now, none of the policy, like, I guess none of it's being approved, like the staff reports to bring back comments to have one to pass, so, I mean, and theoretically, like, if council does want to wait, I know there's a cost to it, but theoretically, there might be a public meeting, like the one in February, we can tack on it if it's deemed, necessary enough. But I'll let you ask through council just so we get
Yeah.
a full direction.
Because to me, the only thing that we've talked about is A, we want them to be in person. And I think we're in agreement that that's right. B, we're not dragging Howe Island in. And we're all in agreement of that. And C, 5 people is a good group. So to me, we can approve that with those amendments at this point in time. And call it a day. There's
Can't
nothing
have it
else
both
different.
ways.
Pardon?
We can't have it both ways. If we are gonna have the full information before we do something, we should have the full information before we put it out to the public and ask this. We've already went through this once in this council meeting. That's what we're gonna follow, that's what we're gonna follow.
Okay, but I'm going to suggest that we can make an amendment to these terms of reference that have been brought forward to us today. To A, remove and Howe Island from point 4. And in point 7, remove or electronically. In point 4, we've already got it covered, may appoint additional non-voting citizens and that, and we talked about a maximum of 5, and you can put down a maximum of 5. Those are just 3 amendments that we can look at and approve this today. I'll ask again, Councillor Jablonski.
I think we refine this a bit, then they get down to what we should have in place, but I agree, we don't know how we can actually ask more people, we don't have the full picture yet. That's what we're gonna try to set right, but let's make the changes here. So when we approach it next month, or maybe in February, it's laid up, ready to go.
Well, what other changes are there that I've missed on this?
So we just, you mentioned, let's make those changes, but I'm not saying let's not start posting it, let's make the changes first, agree upon it, and then anything else that might be changed between now and maybe the 28th, we change it again, make sure. I just want to just push it through, it's unfinished, that's all. My thoughts.
Okay,
Although I do appreciate the urgency, but it's got to be done by the book.
you're thinking that we don't suggest an amendment to the terms of reference at this meeting, so we wouldn't do that till next meeting?
I say you can make some changes now, don't post until they've been written down, we'll approve upon it. A couple of changes have been done. Terms of reference, we need everything in place, as I'm saying.
It would be in place if we voted on amendments and changed it now.
Through you, Madam Mayor, may I just read the motion again so that,
Yes.
okay, all right, okay, I'm just gonna reread it.
Thanks.
So again, moved by Counselor Jablonski, second by Counselor Halton, that council receive the administration report number AD 007-26 regarding ad hoc committee ferry and emergency / paramedic services. And that council directs staff to amend the draft terms of reference for the ad hoc committee on ferry and emergency / paramedic services as discussed by council. That is the current motion.
Okay. So with that, we had 3 amendments, correct?
I have it written down here, Mayor,
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may, so. The first one is update meeting requirements to ensure, they are applicable with municipal law. Regarding specifically minute taking, as well as that the meetings are public in nature. The next one I have amend the end of the policy so that the committee end the following the end of council term, adding that condition Councilor Holton brought up. The composition will be mayor, councillor, and up to a maximum of 5 Wolf Island residents for the composition committee. And so, yeah, those are the 3 I have written down during this
And our
discussion.
policy and procedure, our ad hoc committees are already identified in our current policy and procedure. So it's not just minutes, we're already out there
Yeah.
go along with that.
Okay, yeah, so make sure all aspects,
Yes.
local.
And the 5 citizens.
Yes,
in
yes,
that.
yes.
So it's in addition to the mayor and councilman.
Yeah, so I think again, The way I interpreted it, based on the staff report, was that this was a draft and council was directing staff to make changes to the draft terms of reference. So we were never, I don't think the plan was ever to approve them today.
Okay, that's what's in there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So Angela, I don't know if you have notes and wanted to summarize those changes that staff will be directed to bring to the next council meeting.
Yes, I believe the second paragraph includes that, because this is as discussed by council.
Yeah, so we can.
So we have that. We've had discussion.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
made notes and
All right, so all those in favor? Okay. Thank you very much. We're getting some progress there. Administration report 18008-26 amendment to the June council meeting date. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can speak to this report. So again, we've put forward this report, asking council's approval to change the council meeting that was scheduled originally for June the 8th to June the 1st, specifically to allow staff to attend the annual AMCTO conference, which is being held at the same time.
Okay, we'll get that on the floor.
Mhm. Okay, so moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Jablonski, that council receive administration report number AD 008-26 regarding the proposed change to the June 2026 regular council meeting date. And further, that council approves changing the regular council meeting scheduled for June the 8th, 2026 to June 1st, 2026 to allow staff attendance at the AMCTO annual conference.
Okay. All those in favor of getting it on the floor? It's on the floor, carried, and any discussion? Councilor Saunders.
I'm good.
Councilor Holden.
I'm good with
Councilor
that.
Walnicki.
Nope, that's fine.
All those in favor? Done. Okay. Okay, now we're at public work fire report. TW Fire 001-26 Howe Island plan during county ferry closure. So we're probably going to talk to Chief Finn on that. Am I right?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Correct.
Correct. Through you, Madam Mayor, so council's had an opportunity to review this report. We put it together through the lenses of let's kind of step back as a community, recognize what we're going to be faced with over the next little while the county rehabilitation and work is being done on the docks. We broke it down into chunks. So as it relates to the marine service, and we're talking the 3-car ferry at the east, we have staffed that up to run during the midnight hours when the county ferry is closed. We also are looking at operating it during the lunch break to keep things moving, and that would occur during the period of the 56-hour closure. On site now is a small excavator which has been secured, supported by MTO to deal with ice and ice buildup around the ramps. We've within our pool of resources put together some extra safety equipment. So in the event that we had to get out to the ferry, if for some reason it stopped midway, again, so we're looking at it sort of through those lenses. Backup parts have been in place even before this, but they're there. We've assessed that, and then there will be a portable washroom installed on the mainland side at the East Ferry, again during just the 56-hour closure periods. Then when we looked at, okay, the next sort of level would be the access to Highway 2. So we may have everything in place as it relates to the ferry, but if you can't get off the ferry and up the hill and out to the highway, we're in trouble. So we've increased, I made a request to Leeds and the Thousand Islands to increase the frequency of the snow plowing and sanding should the need arise. As a further risk reduction, we're proposing that the township's small plow truck be stationed on the mainland during the 56-hour closure periods, and it would be made available for snow plowing by our township staff as well as standing if required. So if leads were not able to get in or did not get in, we could at least make an effort to keep that area free of snow so people can actually travel out to the highway. Sand would be transported with our smaller equipment. Again, 56-hour closure period, all the municipal services, fuel delivery, septic services, portable washrooms, all of that. We've adjusted it accordingly to be delivered in other days. Recycling curbside collection would be moved from the typical Wednesday to the Thursday, as noted here in the report, and the effective dates are there. Emergency services, particularly medical emergency, will continue in accordance with the established protocols. During the county ferry closures, EMS would utilize the township 3-car ferry and would be supported by Howe Island Fire and Rescue where appropriate. In the event that multiple response layers, including air ambulance or joint search and rescue, are unable to access Howe Island, arrangements have been confirmed with Clayton, New York Fire Services to deploy their ICE airboat, working in coordination with Howe Fire and Rescue. So they would be responding from Clayton, New York, and accessing the east end of Howe Island. So that would require some support from Howe Island Fire. Ongoing maintenance and removal of snow at the helipad, and then any fire-related emergencies would be managed by Howe Fire with backup support from Kingston Fire, Leeds and the Thousand Islands, and Town of Gananoque. Those services will utilize appropriate smaller 3/4 ton or half-ton trucks and vans to transport personnel and equipment to Howe Island as required. The larger trucks just can't access that east end ferry. To date, associated costs, $872.08, which is our share of the excavator and portable washroom. It falls in consultation with the treasurer. We can address this through our 2026 marine budget. And the last piece that I think is probably the most important, every single effort is being made to have backup plans. And every single effort is being made, and a massive shout out needs to go to our marine staff and public works staff already, because leading up to this county ferry closure, we've been hit with 2 to 3 weeks of brutally cold, crazy weather. And our staff have been running that thing around the clock, keeping the ferry in good order as best as it can be. And it's a battle. And so far, touch wood, we're still going, but it is slow. Hopefully the weather will cooperate in the next week or two and start to moderate. But I guess to the community, you know what, be prepared, have your supplies on hand, exercise good patience, and if at all possible, reduce, unnecessary risks to individuals during these periods. Just, it's really encouraged, because we don't want to have, a situation that goes off the rails. So, you know what, we've done as best as we can. We think we've covered it off, barring anything that we may not have explored. And hopefully we'll get through this.
Okay, questions, Councillor Ackley?
No, great job. Team here in the islands doing a great job, and keep those boats rolling.
Okay, Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You mentioned fuel supply. Residents supply for propane, fuel oil. Is it up to them to let their supplier know?
So through you, Madam Mayor, I would suggest the residents do that. We do know that the fuel companies, the ones that would typically be here, have been notified, both in writing as well as in phone calls. But if you were like a one-off company and we just don't know everybody, like you probably should give them a call and just have them avoid that Tuesday, Wednesday.
And they're aware of the restrictions of a small ferry for large trucks, so they have to either they have to take some action so they can still get on the ferries if they have to during that period of time.
Yeah, like ideally fuel delivery or propane delivery, like do it on the Monday or the Thursday, Friday. Like just totally avoid if you can. And they have been advised, like, let's say you have a furnace that goes down, then send a smaller service truck to do the repair.
School buses, that's sure.
Yeah, so all the school boards, we've been in consultation conversation. I actually called them directly myself just to make absolutely sure. And they are all actually up to speed and are aware that they can cross down there.
Okay, so I want to pick up on the learning we had from Wolf with the disaster over Christmas. If the ferry's down and we have an emergency, a medical emergency, how do we get the person to the dock?
So right now, the patient will be transported by Howell Island Fire Rep
So what do we call that? That patient transfer?
under the umbrella of rescue.
Thanks.
Councillor Holden?
I just thank you very much. You did a great job and hopefully you've covered everything. Hopefully it goes smooth. Thank you.
Councillor Jablonski?
No, great job, Mike. I should have hired you as wind farm operating, could use you for your coordination abilities. No, good job. Good job.
Just one question that for the Clayton aspect, have you been in contact with Border Services?
So under mutual, through you, Madam Mayor, under mutual aid agreements, there's approvals pre-approved for emergency services across to and from. the border, across the
Thank you very
border.
much. All right, so
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Ackley, that Public Works Report number PW/Fire 001-26 Howe Island Fire Marine Public Works Report be received, and further that council supports the contingency plan criteria outlined herein for the periods during which the county ferry will be closed for dock and ramp rehabilitation.
any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Now we're at the action items required. There's a motion by Councillor Ashley on Howe Island County Ferry and 3G Day report. Would you like to speak to that, and who's seconding it?
I think we were gonna read the report.
I can read it, yeah. Okay, so this is moved by Councillor Ackley. Whereas the Howe Island Ferry Service is critical infrastructure for residents, emergency services, businesses, and municipal operations. And whereas some members of council have received a technical report from 3GA Marine outlining options for the future operation, maintenance, and replacement of the Howe Island Ferry Service. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to prepare a comprehensive summary of the 3GA Marine report, including all viable service options identified, estimated capital and operating costs for each option, timelines, risk, and service impacts, and implications for reliability, safety, and long-term sustainability. And be it further resolved that staff include in the summary an assessment of funding and governance considerations, including potential provincial involvement where applicable. And be it further resolved that the summary report be presented to council no later than, we need to insert a date there, for deliberation and direction.
So we have a seconder for this?
So, we need a seconder.
Councillor Saunders?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so it's on the table, Matt, all those? Speak it.
So, my full intention was to bring the full 73-page report here so we could discuss it outright, but we haven't got permission to release it yet from MPO to put it up on the page so everybody can see it. It has been spread out around the island. I'm sure everybody's seen it. You might have a copy, Madam Mayor. You don't have a copy yet? Well, I'll work on that bridge. Some other people have copies, and it's just an extensive report on whether we're gonna have a electric ferry, a hybrid ferry, or a diesel powered ferry, and the cost for the ferry and all the rest of that stuff. Basically, I wanted to bring it up so we could put some input into suggesting what the needs of Howe Islanders are for this new suggested 21-car ferry. And there's pictures in it, there's drawings in it, so MTO's already moved forward on a project that we know nothing about technically. So, hopefully by next meeting, and I did have a small little chat with Jason Buick there the other day, and he did mention that, you know, the report might be public knowledge very shortly. So,
All right, Councillor Saunders, you have anything to
Did
say?
you want to comment on who Jason Buick was?
Jason Buick is the manager for MTO right now.
This area,
The head for this area.
okay? So you're the seconder, would you like to say anything?
Just to add to Councillor Ackley's comments, the existing ferry, we've learned from the existing ferry that we have, the current Highlander. It was designed, it was input provided by both operators and island residents, and somehow the initial design, which had all this review, was changed and came up with something that most people now feel was less than desirable, including the drive system and everything else. So the basic Councillor Ackley's request here is let's get some input into the design. We know a lot about how to run ferries and stuff before somebody puts the final stamp on and says this is what it's going to be. So,
Councillor Holton?
Yeah, I think this is great. I think to insert the date, we should put next council meeting, hopefully. I mean, maybe it can't happen, but we'd like to have it so that we can get, like you said, get some input before they start to build it. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I appreciate what you guys are trying to do. I was part of the team that, before the Wolfie Forest bills, come to all the businesses, the Wolf Island guy together for 3 or 4 meetings and asked, what are our needs? We gave him a list of stuff we wanted to see done. Not one was included. So I don't know if it's more a PR thing by MTO or it's actually functional, but I think you have these meetings, you're gonna get a 3GA report. You're going to see where they're going. And I don't think your input, to be honest, I wish they could say something better. It's going to make any difference or not. Again, 4 meetings we had before the Wolfie Forest was built, and simple things like parking, little things like that were just completely ignored. So I commend you. Maybe you guys get further than we did in those meetings, but MTO put those meetings up for us. They asked old businesses, and it was a Wolf Island Wind Farm at that point. And all the information we said, and little things like parking, no access, little things like that. And no, it's just completely ignored. But at least you'll get an idea of where they're going. And then you can raise a bit of heck and say, hey guys, it doesn't work. But I commend you for trying it and wish you the best of luck.
I don't give up.
I'm going.
Okay, I'm going to ask the clerk, because we haven't got the CAO here in that, but I know when this was raised to me, I asked for a legal opinion because we haven't got the report and we are government. So did we get a legal opinion if we can move forward in any aspect of this report that is being circulated apparently, but has not been released? And so do you have any of that information, or do you have any of that information?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, before staff would present anything, whether it was the report itself or a summary, we will, there already has been session, we'll reach out to our legal counsel to make sure
Okay.
nothing can come back from the township.
Good. Now, second to that, what we could do legally, and that is certainly send a letter off from this council that requesting MTO do a public consultation of Howe Islanders regarding the ferry service. We don't operate it, the county does, but there should not be a barrier for them to actually do public consultation. And that would be a good avenue and something that we legally could do in a quick order in that. And at least if we could tip the hand that the report is already out there in the public. So they're always adverse and very confidential, but if they know that, you know, the report is already being circulated by whatever means, then it would be in their best interest, and our government here, our municipal government, would like them to come down to do public consultation of the stakeholders. That seems more than reasonable. And from a transparency perspective, if it's a well-worded letter, I would argue it from the stakeholder perspective and transparency of the provincial government, that they do a public consultation. And at least we've done our due diligence to request it. of them, because it's true, they don't share well. They don't play well in the sandbox, but if we haven't made that formal request, then that's on us too. So I would suggest that direction from council would be that we send a letter to the Minister of Transport, copy the Premier, copy the leaders of the opposition, so that they're all aware of it, that there's been a formal request to come and do a stakeholders consultation on the future ferry options of Owl Island. And at the very least, it will give them a lot to talk about at the legislature, and it might give them an opportunity to try to get their feet out of their mouth in that, because they haven't had the best of publicity and that for being open and transparent in consultation, and it shouldn't interfere with the county. And I'll ask the councillor, who happens to also be the warden, if you have any concern with that approach.
I'm always concerned with sending letters off to the premier and undercutting ministers and stuff. If we take that approach, I'd recommend that it go to at least the deputy minister or whatever, and request the same.
And the county?
Sorry?
And the county, since the county is the operator, I'm asking,
Oh.
do you see that there's any difficulty with the township taking this approach, since the county only operates it and MTO owns it, but the stakeholders are Howe Islanders?
Yes, I believe I can't speak for the CAO, Governor, but I believe he would expect to be reviewed, have to review that before that was since the joint operation. It's a joint responsibility. I think in fairness, to Mr. Fair would be the one to review that, before. Maybe postpone.
Councillor Holton?
So I mean, I agree with Bob, but I mean, at this point in time, we're sending a letter on, based on rumor, because the report isn't official yet. So till we get that official report, so let's just back it down and wait till hopefully we get this for March, and then, yes, send a letter off that and then, that sounds great, but just timing.
So you don't think the letter should go out at this point in time?
Well, you're facing your letter on what?
Asking for stakeholders consultation, irregardless of a report,
But there's no
MTO.
stakeholders
irregardless.
on what? Like, because there's nothing official yet that they're even looking at it here, really. It's just,
Technically.
it's rumors. So that, all I'm saying, I think the letter's a great idea. Let's wait. I mean, at this point in time, another month, if we can get that 3AG report, like Bob says, that's really important to get out. Let everybody see it. It just might be.
That's my point, to get this report out so people can see that, yes, they've already went ahead and drawn up a new boat and they got some plans and they got ideas. So that gives us hope on the island that, there's a ferry or something better, right? Or, because I can't imagine them fixing this whole whatever and making it bigger and just a waste of money. It's too much salt to run. Yeah, I think we should put something forward that pushes them to send it, allow us or them to release the documents so everybody can see it, and then that puts acknowledgement for them to say we're doing something for Howe Islanders. We're focused on maybe building a new boat.
Hey, Councillor Saunders, you got anything more to add? Because we're invoking that the county should be involved regarding this seconded motion that you have here. Are you still in favor of moving this forward, and you want to add an amendment somehow to be involving the county, or no?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The basic intent of Councillor Ackley's report is to officially request a report of the release. In fairness, I think we should at least have a brief conversation with the county as the operator and have them just acknowledge it or support it or co-sign it or something. So that's the matter of drafting up a letter. Meeting with the county. Within a day or two, send it forward.
Are you saying to defer this to the next meeting and draft a letter to the county first? No, okay.
No, what I'm saying is we can go ahead and draft the letter today, tomorrow. Doesn't have to wait till next week. As a matter of courtesy, review that with the CEO of the county to ensure that it's consistent with their thoughts or and issues.
Councillor Holton?
What are you asking for in the letter?
My apologies. I'm having a hard time following some of these conversations. We seem to be all over the map.
That's what I was.
As I understand the motion on the floor from Councillor Ackley, what I've seconded is to request staff prepare a letter, prepare a report after this conversation with MTO regarding a specific date for the Easter film.
However, you raised the point of the county, and we are well cognizant that that's sensitive. The county has been in their care and control of any message to NTO regarding this particular ferry.
So we put this letter report together as a courtesy review with the city of the county. They may choose to co-sign it or whatever, and then we ship it. I don't think it's, am I missing something here?
Councillor Holton?
That's not what I'm reading in this. Maybe it's just a different interpretation. I'm reading that Bob is asking for a summary of the 3 AG report. So I don't know what we're asking the county for. Because we're just asking for a summary of the 3 AG report.
Right, so thank you for that clarification, Madam Mayor. So let me try and rephrase what I'm trying to answer here is, as a matter of courtesy, we should let the county CEO know that we are proceeding on that path.
Okay.
Right?
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, Councillor Ackley?
Previous council meeting last month, I asked to have this, so I could bring it forward. And I didn't get notification in time to go discuss with MTO. You know, I only had a couple of days prior. I did have a little discussion with the manager and Jason Buick. And he was talking to Colin Simons, if that's correct. To try to get released for it before this meeting, but it didn't happen. Apparently I didn't get an email back. So like Vanessa got an email back from him. She didn't talk to him. And so at this point, I've already asked, you suggested, I think, in your own words, that we should have the lawyer look at bringing this forward to see if we can I could legally put it out. Well, I didn't find out till a couple days prior that she didn't contact the lawyer yet, but then she did contact the lawyer, and the lawyer did tell her that we couldn't put it out till we had a approval from MTO. So that day I drove to MTO and I had a chat with Jason Muth. And I'm happy with them trying to go through the procedures to get stuff done, but stuff doesn't seem to be getting done. It keeps getting thrown under the bus. I've been here 3 years trying to get us a new ferry because they took it from 15 to 10 and it's just getting worse. They're changing drive systems and it's just not good. At the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is get this 3GA report out there so people can see that yes, MTO is actually doing something, even though they're not telling us or showing us the paperwork yet. They're actually doing something. It was leaked out. Lots of people do have it. We have to follow proper procedures. So we need to write a letter back to MTO to please release the report in good faith, because it's already out there. so people can recognize the situation. Then we can seriously talk about it at next council meeting to state, hey, I think we need a hybrid, or I think we need a diesel, or I think we need electric, and could we, as one council member, whoever, get to directly talk, like Javanki said, sorry, said that, you know, he tried to put some input, they had a whole list and whatever. Well, this thing's gonna be here for another 50 years when it comes. So somebody seriously needs to put some input. You know, when it comes to talking to the operators and so forth, too.
So
We
for
need
my,
input.
for my clarity then, are you suggesting that the appropriate procedure would be to direct staff to write a letter to NTO requesting the release of the 3GA report so that we can then have fulsome discussion
Yes,
and consultation with our own stakeholders here on Howe Island. And that relieves them from coming down to have the fulsome discussion,
perfect.
that we could do that. And we could maybe put this deferred until we get the 3G report released, so we can actually do something. Would you be agreeable to that then?
Yeah, defer it till next month, as long as we get the, hopefully we get the
But
report.
in the meantime, direct staff to send a letter to MTO requesting the release of this 3GA report with the clear intent that it comes to us, that we would share it with the community and assess the stakeholder
Correct.
involvement.
Through Madam S, and just add on consultation with county staff before we send that letter.
No, this is, to me, this is from this township and that,
Township is
this is
just
not
asking for it.
operational and that, but, you know, we could give a courtesy call on that, but I can tell you that how sensitive it is at the county is shortly after we were elected to term. For whatever reason, they were under the impression that they needed to make it very, very clear that only the county and MTO discussed that ferry. And I mean, with legal representation, they made that point. So this is information of 3GA and consultation with our stakeholders, keeping it as narrow as possible. Might be the way that we can get around it. But if it's of the opinion that I got that anything to do with that ferry will put us in a legal quagmire, and our lawyer, I will say this, Tony Fleming, who is our lawyer, is also the lawyer of the county. And during that discussion, he said, I'm the lawyer for the county, not for the township. So be aware of this. It's a sensitive piece. Councillor Holton.
I'm not too worried, but I think share it with the CDO, not that he gets any input on it.
Yeah.
But share it with them, that here's what we are sending, just so you're aware. I think that's fair. I think that's the way I'd like to be treated. But we are sending this letter. Here it is, just so you know.
So Madam Mayor, my understanding is that the motion on the floor is Councillor Ackley's, which is basically not anything to do with sending a letter. It's directing the CEO to get some additional information by specific date. Yeah. So that's the motion that's on the floor. I would call the question.
Well, my direction was to bring the report this month. It was supposed to be here for last month, because she does have a copy, Vanessa, our CAO, and she just didn't get us the proper channels yet to release it, because the lawyer said don't release it yet.
The lawyer
But
said don't release it yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
until we get
okay, so,
confirmation from MTO.
right, so would you like this motion deferred then until we get confirmation from MTO, or would you like it to move forward and it might get defeated?
Well, I'd like to make a letter to get it released from MTO. I'd like to come from us, stating that we need to release the 3G report to everybody, and
Okay,
then we can have next.
so would you like to have a new motion?
Well, it's what I said to her, and this is how it's written, you know.
Okay, we can move forward with this as it's written if you'd like.
I just maybe add that there needs to be a letter that it's to bring up the document. I'm talking about the document.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, not really anything else. The document was the specific thing I'm talking about to show everybody.
in there, Angela, has a.
If I may, through you, Madam Mayor. So this motion is very specific, directing staff to do a comprehensive summary of the report. It's very specific. So it's directing staff to do a summary, first of all. And then we need to insert the specific date because it's saying that the summary report be presented to council no later than for deliberation and direction. So that's the current motion. If you want to amend the motion for us to add for staff to direct staff to provide a letter to MTO, we'll just do that as an amendment. But right now, I think we should be clear on what the current motion is on the floor.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and that motion has it, so let's say until they releases it later this week, staff already has direction to bring a report right away to March. We can then have the amendment that we ask that they release it as well, so that we're able to do something, if that makes sense.
But if they don't release
That
it,
makes sense.
We will not, so I'm not in the conversations, but we would not bring a summary if we were legally not allowed to. So I think staff would have that direction. If the lawyer, I'm assuming because Vanessa's been on the report, she's already confirmed that it's okay. But we will be cautious with this as it is sensitive.
okay, so any involvement in the county at this point in time?
I would still tell them what you're doing, but that's, to the majority. I'm not saying ask for permission, just give them a heads up. Hey, we're sitting this.
They should be in the know, I'm sure they're in the know, but they should be in the know, yes. They should know about the direction that I'm asking.
Okay, and you have a seconder that happens to be the warden, so full knowledge going on
For this motion,
for this motion.
and this motion does not talk about a letter.
We
Okay,
have to make an amendment to.
Correct.
So can we put an amendment on?
Okay, so who would be the mover for the amendment?
Councillor Halton. And seconded by?
No.
Councillor Jablonski.
Okay, so I've just drafted something here and you can correct me if it's not correct, but so the amendment we would add and that council directs staff to provide a letter to the Ministry of Transportation requesting specifically the release of the 3GA report to be shared with the members of Township Council and the public. Okay.
All those in favor of the amendment? Carried. Now back to the original. We don't have to have it read again if it's the original unless you request it. Is anybody requesting it
Oh, the date.
We need a specific date.
By next council meeting?
by next council meeting?
Is March 9th.
March 9th. I'll insert March 9th, 2026.
That'll be on Wolf. Okay, any discussion, any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Good, we got through that. Yes. Motion by Deputy Mayor Saunders, council support for Vanessa Latimer, CAO.
You want to read the motion?
Absolutely. This is moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders that council formally acknowledge and express its appreciation for the leadership and dedication demonstrated by Vanessa Latimer, CAO/clerk, and township staff throughout 2025. And that council recognize the significant work undertaken by administration in the preparation and delivery of the municipal budget, activity reports, and the wide range of operational and strategic initiatives completed on behalf of the township. And further that council extends its full support to the CAO clerk and all township staff in advancing council's priorities, maintaining service delivery, and supporting the effective and efficient operation of the township of Frontenac Islands.
Okay,
And I'll need a seconder for that motion.
second by John Monty, we put it on the floor. All those in favor of it on the floor for discussion? Good.
So, Madam Mayor, if I can, I'll speak to my motion. This, I guess, thought occurred to me, as the treasurer was presenting our year-end financial situation, where once again, we've delivered all these services under budget, on or under budget. That made me think about what other things have gone on in the past year. So a very short list is there's been an enormous amount of work done on personnel policies. We just went through one particular one. Those policies were not in place or were not up to date. We had our wage parity, actually, pay equity policy, which again was not in place. We now have a structure for evaluating employees, putting them on the proper pay curves, and all those things that go along with an effective organization. During this year, we've done an enormous amount of work on roads. Everybody would agree to that. And I will make one comment, which is if you're concerned about potholes, go drive Highway 2 to Kingston or Gananoque. We will never be without potholes. There's been an enormous amount of staff ongoing in this particular year. Seems like you've been here for years already. And staff development as new people have taken on new roles. All of that, I think, deserves some recognition. As I've always said, when things go well, staff gets credit. When things go bad, senior staff get, you know what. And I think there's been a whole lot of stuff going on well, and all the staff, including our CEO, should be recognized for the outstanding work they've done. And I will be asking for a recorded vote on this motion.
Okay, discussion, Councillor Ackley?
No, I think so far we're just, we're heading in a good direction and, you know, we got a new council maybe next year or whatever. So far our staff's done just an amazing job of getting us where we got and got a bit of money in the bank. Hopefully we don't spend too much of it. I might.
Hey, Councillor Halton?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is wonderful. And staff well deserving of it.
Councillor Jablonski?
Yeah, I couldn't say any better. We've had nothing but new staff. We have new council, new staff. We got balanced budgets in a row now, a few in a row, lots of work done. Yeah, I think, yeah, we got some good people on this team finally.
And I'll say that from a staff perspective, and that I am very pleased. However, I appreciate the recorded vote in that because this has led as full support and endorsement of the CAO clerk in that, and there's a difference of opinion in that regard. So that's appreciative, but I've really appreciated the work that's been going on with the staff and the budget and all that has moved forward, and that is to their credit as well.
Recorded vote?
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Ackley? Yes.
Yes.
Councillor Halton?
Yes,
Councillor Jablonski?
In favor, yes.
Mayor Greenwood Spears?
I abstain.
Deputy Mayor Saunders?
Yes.
Go ahead with this.
Okay, carried. Thank you. Now we're at Virginia Clark, Wolf Island Music Festival, request for exemption to the noise bylaw. We have a letter from Virginia, and she's also online and will make apparently a presentation, sort of an odd time to put it in here, but I will go with the flow.
Through you, Madam Mayor, she's there available, I believe, for any questions. She's now put her camera on.
Unmute yourself there, my dear,
Very sure.
and you can give us a little bit on this.
I'm just asking basically the same.
Just one
bylaw.
moment. We can't hear
sorry.
you. Just one moment.
Yep, we can't hear you yet. Just give us a sec. We're working on a technical glitch.
Can you try now, Virginia?
Can you hear me now? Great. Hi, everyone. I just want to also concur what you just your appreciation for your staff. I too, as a community member, have really appreciated working with the staff and the clerk. It's been incredible experience for me. And I just going to be asking the same bylaw exemptions that I asked for last year. And we're gonna continue with the festival. Last year was a huge success. As Danny would know, I have a much smaller event nowadays. It's not the large festival that took place in the baseball field. It's now just self-contained at St. Margaret's Hall. It's not weather dependent anymore. So if it rains, it still happens. Marcel would know that I also put up a tent. So if it rains, we're good. Also keeping the noise inside the hall helps a lot for our neighbors. So basically, I'm asking for a noise bylaw exemption from 5 o'clock starting August 7th till midnight, and then 3 p.m. till midnight, August 8th. I just make it till midnight. That means us being able to clean up, and that's not meaning that the event would go that long. I just want to make sure that if we're cleaning things up, that's covered with the bylaw exemption, picking up cups or whatever it is. So and then I also would love to ask for a letter of request of support, which I've asked for many years now, for the AGCO liquor license application. This helps cover the costs for the events, and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Ackley?
No questions.
Councillor Saunders?
No, thank you.
Councillor Holton?
No questions.
Councillor Jablonski?
No questions.
Rock on.
I appreciate you all for supporting this. As listening to this entire meeting, it's a big risk and gamble to go ahead with an event on the island. But I'm gonna go through. I mean, now that it's smaller, I'm just gonna hope for the best, and hopefully we can move forward. So I'm just gonna take the risk, I guess.
Okay, we'll call the vote.
I'm just going to put the motion on the floor. Moved by Councillor Halton, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from Virginia Clark requesting an exemption to the noise bylaw for the Wolf Island Music Festival from 11 p.m. on August 7, 2026 to 12 a.m. midnight on August 8, 2026, and 11 p.m. on August 8, 2026 to midnight.
No, it's not 11 p.m.
2026 be granted as requested, and that council direct staff to provide a letter of support for their AGCO liquor license application.
It's not 11 p.m. Sorry, it's not 11 p.m. start. Yeah, it's 5 p.m. on the Friday and then 3 p.m. on the Saturday, not 11 p.m.
Okay.
That would be a late start.
Okay.
So 5 p.m. until midnight on the Friday, and then 3 p.m. until midnight on the Saturday. Friday being August 7th and Saturday being August 8th. Just wanted to confirm that so we didn't get it wrong.
Thank you for the correction. Okay, so any discussion? Councillor Ackley? Councillor Saunders?
Thank you.
Councillor Holton?
No.
Councillor Jablonski? All those in favor? Carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now you can mute again. Okay, now, Municipality of Shawinigan and United Counties of Leeds and Grenville support resolution of Bill 9 Municipal Accountability Act of 2025.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from the municipality of Shawinigan and United Counties of Leeds and Grenville regarding Bill 9 Municipal Accountability Act 2025 be received and either filed or endorsed.
Okay, so we'll open that. Get it on the floor first. All those in favor of coming, and then we'll figure out whether it's filed or endorsed.
Point more, wait a minute.
Yep.
Are we required to vote to put it on the floor? I thought that was automatic once the motion is read.
It's automatic? Okay, we'll leave it at that then. Councillor Ackley.
I don't have any comment.
Councillor Saunders.
I would support endorsed.
Councillor Holton.
I would endorse too.
Councillor Jablonski.
Same thing. Accountability has to endorse accountability.
Okay. All those in favor then? Carried. Township of Southgate, number 2026-027, Omer's Bill 68 municipal resolution.
Okay, moved by Counselor Halton, second by Counselor Ackley, that the request received from the Township of Southgate regarding OMERS Bill 68 municipal resolution be received and either filed or endorsed.
All right, so what would we like to do? Councillor Ackley, would you like to file or endorse? We can come back to you.
Yeah, you come back.
Okay, Councillor Saunders.
So Madam Mayor, I would be endorsing this, and this is a priority that's been put forward by the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. Our understanding is the bill's moving forward. However, there are opportunities to make changes, so I think we need to endorse this.
Okay, Councillor Holton.
I'd endorse.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
would endorse.
Okay, and now back to you, Councillor Ackley.
That's fine, I'd endorse it then.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Now, we're at the Hotel Wolf Island. And Wolf Island Commons request for support for the Mondo Banjo Festival. And we have a person that is Claire Grady Smith that would like to speak to that. If you unmute, we'll try to get you available.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yes, I can. Okay, great. Thank you so much for hearing about this. Page 190 in your attachments to your agenda is the letter that I sent last week. And it's a very small actual request. There's a form that I need filled out for a grant that I've applied to. It's a federal grant. It's Heritage Canada. And I'm working with I should probably back up. I'm working with Tom Carpenter and Jason Mercer and Chris Brown at Hotel Wolf Island. This grant is actually from the Wolf Island Commons, and the Mondo Banjo Festival happened for the first time last year. It was very successful, and we're trying to grow the festival this coming September. The dates are September 11th to the 13th. And the grant that I'm applying for is called Building Communities Through the Arts. It's from Heritage Canada. This is my fourth time applying for it, and it's usually a pretty good bet that we'll get it. It is designed to support only local artists and vendors. So this would the $30,000 that I'm applying for in this case, that would not be the entire festival budget, but this would be for the local musicians, local food, local venues. So part of this would pay for the space at the hotel, and like last year, the festival happened without any accommodation being paid for because there was no budget for it. So I'm trying to increase that for the festival and for the whole community, really. So the form I'm needing, there's no monetary request from City Council. It is only just basically the form is to let the federal folks know that you're in support of the festival. It could really be, it's just we're asking for a very low commitment, because the main point is that the grant officers know that the municipality is aware of the festival and is in support of the festival. So what we're asking for is, could you possibly print us, there's an in-kind request of 100 sheets of paper. So it really could be anything, but it's just that the form will be signed by somebody saying that you're aware that the festival is happening, you support it, and 100 you're committing 100 sheets of printed material that you'll print in-house and provide to us after we give you the file to print. But yeah, if there are any questions, it's just a very small ask. I hope that I understand your budget is already set for the year, so I hope that doesn't change things too much at your end, and you can support the festival and the ask. I'll stop talking now.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Questions, Councillor Act?
I think it's a great idea. Lots of fun, lots of fun, lots of fun.
Thank you, Councillor Summers.
Fully support.
Councillor Holt.
I fully support it.
Councillor Jablonski.
Even with a 100-page ass, I fully support this.
I think we might be able to swing that. Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Oh, sorry.
Madam Mayor, I just need to put this on the floor.
Oh, I thought you started on the floor. You know, look on.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that council supports the request from Hotel Wolf Island and Wolf Island Commons for the Mondo Banjo Festival with in-kind support for the printing of the flyers.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Now it's done. Carried. Okay, we are at the public question period. We haven't got anybody here in person, but I'm looking for hands. We have Kimberly Thomas, has her hand up.
No, thank you. Hi, guys. Yeah, Kimberly Thomas, 15 8th Line Road, Wolf Island. This is probably a dumb question, but regarding the ad hoc ferry and emergency paramedic services advisory committee, after the discussion, I just want to be clear, when will it be put out to the community to ask for applicants, and how does it get put out to the community? How is it posted?
Okay, and I can have the clerk, the treasurer is happy to.
So, through you, Madam Mayor, so Kimberly, council decided to wait until the terms of reference are approved. With the expectation that we are going to take back the comments today, bring that to council in March, and those terms of reference will be approved. At that point, we'll begin the recruitment process for the committee. As far as where it will be posted, Angela, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm assuming likely it will be on our website as well as our social media pages. I don't think we'll be on doing any kind of external marketing. I'll have to double check that, but since we are trying to recruit from Wolf Island locally, we'll announce recruitment maybe at the next council, post it on our website and post it on our Facebook. If council finds that suitable, again, I think that might be down for the.
I believe our communication policy includes posting it at the post
Oh, yes,
office.
yeah,
We do have hard copies and at the town hall.
and we usually also at the general store as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, physically posted at the post office and the general store as well on their post boards.
Potentially, we could put it on the bulletin board and whichever fair is running at this point in time. And that, but we'll try to get it there.
Would that be after the next council meeting or before the next council meeting?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, so that will be after Kimberly, because the draft terms of reference will need to be approved first.
Okay, so it'd be another month before it gets posted at least, right?
That is correct, not until after March 9th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't see any other hands up. And I have everybody showing up on that screen. Okay, then we'll move on then to statement by members. Councillor Ackle.
Well, again, I'd like to thank our roads department, doing a great job keeping the snowbanks back. Personally, I think we should leave snow on the road because I have a snowbank. But all in all, the boys are doing a great job. And secondly, I'd like to thank all the ferry staff on both islands for just going above and beyond, they've been through hell with all this crazy snow and ice and freezing temperatures, and you got to commend them all to keeping us on and off the island safely. And you know, it's office staff helping too, but it's just tremendous, the team we got on these islands to keep things going.
Councillor Saunders.
So
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There was one example of results from last year that, just check my notes here. The work that was done by the team, I guess under the fire chief, to manage that disaster over Christmas is remarkable. I can't imagine what they all went through, but in some ways it was a great way to end the year. We show what we can actually do. Yeah, on the other hand, it was a poor way to end the year. So I want to make sure that the group will pull all that together and work so hard to that's the situation.
You, Councillor Holton.
Again, I'm gonna echo just what Bob said. Our roads guys have done a fantastic job in terrible weather. Our ferry operators are doing a great job keeping that going across. We also have Ben at the rink. He's kept it open. We've had 3 little tournaments in the last little while. He's done a great job for it. And fire department, I just want to acknowledge Kim Hawkins for Glen Holton. February is 50 years as volunteers. 50 years, think about that, they've been on the fire department. So we really appreciate it all, thank you. Yes.
Councillor Jablonski.
I can't follow these three gentlemen, they took on my thunder, so. That's the first next time, no, it's, again, it's a good job by our council.
Yeah, I won't be repetitive either, and that it was wonderful. Couple things, I did go to Roma, which is the Rural Ontario Municipal Association. And Ted Hsu did a wonderful speech where we were highlighted, Wolf Island in particular, for the challenges of it. It was a wonderful opportunity because there were still ministers there and their staff. And followed right after that by Gen Well, which is a organization here in Toronto, which talks about community wellness. And then they cited Wolf Island because they had listened to what Mr. Hsu had said. And so then I got up and I pointed out I'm a very proud mayor of Wolf Island and all that it's gone on and the challenges and that. So it was good timing because it resonated well. And I would have to say it has probably served us better than a lot of things at this point in time. Another piece, we did have the Memorial Hockey Tournament that very recently on the island for two of our fellows that certainly I grew up with. And it was well received in that and a good time despite having some sad memories. One thing I do hope that because Howe Island does have access to putting information on that sign by the ferry, I hope that sooner rather than later, we put very clearly the dates that this 56-hour business is going to be shutting down because sure as shooting, someone's going to say, I didn't know about it. And need to talk it up as much as possible. We don't want to hear about people running into propane and stuff and their septic being fouled up. And because 56 hours is not a short period of time for big equipment not to be able to access us. You know, the smaller things, and I hope that the farmers are well aware of this as well. So that's all. Okay, any notice of motions? Anybody notice a motion? No? Any announcements? Nobody's getting married? Okay, Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I always get a little confused between statements and announcements, so I'll run these two together a little bit. I'm putting forward a motion, which I believe will be seconded by the mayor and county council requesting additional funding for the nurse practitioner, the pilot project on Wolf Island. I think it's a remarkable initiative that they're setting forward, and any funding put towards it will help either extend it or provide some additional options. I'm now a member of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. This group is extremely effective. They're well staffed. They really put excellent materials together. And one of the things that's provided us and me is opportunities to work directly or talk directly to various ministers and MPPs. None of those have led to anything, as we all kind of know, but at least we can start to have a sort of a face-to-face and I know who you are for discussing. So in that short period of time, that was Steve Clark, Lisa Thompson, Tyler Alsop, Rick Breezy, John Jordan, and Nolan Quinn. And these are people just like you and I, and our task is to get our need in front of them in a meaningful way so they can appreciate what our challenges are and hopefully lead us some solutions. I would point out that, as the mayor said, Roma, the one minister I thought was missing was the Minister of Transportation.
Yeah.
And so that's just an observation. It points out the difficulty in getting through to it. And one announcement, the next EOWC event is a luncheon meeting with Minister Flack, Municipal Affairs, in Toronto on the 17th. There might be an opportunity there for us to bring up the whole issue of communal services. We'll see how that goes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's it.
Okay, Councillor Holton?
No announcement, thank you.
Councillor Jablonski?
My legs is very boring, no announcements.
Okay, and just to add to the Roma piece, that Minister of Finance Bethalny was the stand-in for Minister Sakaria. So I did have a lovely chat with Minister of Finance and that, and he understands that any of our concerns, he'd be happy if we copy his office so that they're aware of it, because it's all about money in the end. And the best business cases that we can make for the efficient use of the provincial coffers is going to be well received. I also got to speak to Jill Dunlop, Minister of Emergency Services and Preparedness, and one of the other ministers as well. I have pictures and we had good conversations, but basically it was well worth it, and I really appreciated having the conversation with the Minister of Finance. And it was interesting that the Minister of Transportation was noticeably missing that. So with that said, they did get their Eglinton run open on Sunday, and it broke down 3 hours later, and that, but then they got them. So still consistent. We'll say. Okay, so bylaws. Now we have the amendment, or that piece about the personnel is the one that we're going to pull out.
Correct.
So,
Okay, moved by Counselor Halton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that 3 readings and final pass to be granted bylaws 007-2026 and 009-2026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
okay, any discussion? Counselor Ackley, Counselor Saunders, Counselor Halton, Counselor Zanetti, all those in favor? Carried.
We not need another motion for
No, okay.
first reading of 008?
No.
Okay.
You got put aside.
Yeah.
That, okay, so now we're gonna adjourn, a motion to adjourn at 12:36.
Moved by Counselor Ackley, second by Counselor Jablonski, that the regular meeting of council held February 9, 2026 adjourn.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.